AWA proudly presents the Author's Lounge with author Tara Bennett Smith. I am super excited to welcome to the Author's Lounge stage Miss Tara Bennett Smith. Tara, welcome. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much, Paulette. I've been looking forward to this exchange of words.
Yes, I attended Tara's book launch and it was absolutely amazing. It was really the best book launch that I've ever attended. So, Tara, tell our audience about being bigger, badder, bolder, and better and your journey in writing that book.
It started with initially the book was called Connecting the Dots.
Yes.
And because I started to do workshops, well, I don't even want to call them workshops. They were just work on myself to try to be better.
Yes.
And in order to do that, I had to, without dealing with a lot of the pain from the origins of the source, I
Yes.
had to go back and figure out now what stemmed, what got me to this place, or what got me to this belief system, or what got me to this. And I started looking at, oh, I remember when I was little, for an example, there's a section in the book where I talk about why I have a hard time learning to swim. And to this day, swimming has been something that I would love to do, but I'm panicked. And
Mm,
I remembered when I was young how I used to have severe nosebleeds, and because I had really bad allergies. And so my parents used to lay me out on the counter. And I only remember this once, but once is enough.
yes.
They laid me out on the kitchen counter and just had the faucet run over my face, the faucet of water. Now, that might have been some old Southern remedy that, we got all these Southern remedies, but really it is a sense of torture. Now, I know my
Mm,
parents weren't trying to torture me, but they
right.
didn't understand the ramifications of what that would do. So what it did was it panicked me so much that I couldn't go underwater.
Greater
And
water,
anytime I
yes.
got in the water, I'd have a panic attack. And I
Mm-hmm.
talk about this in the book where even getting in the shower, I would shower like this.
Mm,
Years because the water
you want to
petrified. So
mm-hmm.
we never really understand why certain things, certain words, certain actions play a part in how we carry ourselves further. And I call
Yes,
those the blueprints. My book is called Being Bigger, Better, Bolder, Better. 3 acts to redesigning your blueprint and your life script because
yes.
our lives really come in acts. The first act is when we're born, things that our family give us, the words that they choose, the beatings, whether it's a lot of love, not enough love, that blueprint is being set up. And they
Right.
just give you that blueprint. You
Yes,
don't know how to change all that at a young age. So that's
right.
the beginning. That's the first act of our lives. And
Yes,
then the second act is when, okay, this stuff has now become programmed in my brain. So now in this act, I'm going to start manifesting things that go along with this thing,
yes.
this print. And now once you realize, oh shoot, now I'm living this sort of kind of life where I'm either addicted to alcohol, I'm addicted to emotional abuse. I'm addicted to negativity and words. I'm addicted to eating. I'm addicted to being loved and fabulous and glamorous. It
Mm-hmm.
can go both ways. And
Right.
then you have that addiction, which most people don't realize is an addiction. And now it's like, well, what do I do with this? So now the third act of your life is you got to figure out how to now redesign that and rewrite your life script. So I
Yes.
was doing that for myself, looking at all the things, the lack of money and this the struggle with finances. And my family didn't realize. I had an aunt who used to say, if it wasn't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. I mean, can you imagine hearing that every day
Yeah,
as your mantra, and you wake up and go, well, we just doomed because it's just who we are.
right.
That's the blueprint.
Yes,
But you don't realize that blueprint becomes your way of doing things because you don't know that that blueprint could be redesigned.
right.
So
Yeah.
that's what sparked the book because I had to do the work on myself. And then once I
Wow.
started to do the work on myself, I started to see the change and trust. It's ongoing. It never
Yes.
stops the work, but you get tools and it becomes easier to do. So that's what sparked me doing the books because I started doing workshops, happenstance, and just helping others just from my experience. And people were going, I feel so much better. I'm ready to go. I'm doing my business now. I've started this just with small little adjustments. And then
Yes.
book came because I just felt like I should have a book to go with it. And then people can, who I don't reach, can maybe get some help from it. So that's it.
Next up, Tara and I talk about the influences of childhood. Children they're watching you. Their video camera is rolling. And so what they take in, as you to your point, they take in things and it stays there. And they will then grow up to mimic some of those things, good and bad. You grow up and you see Uncle so and so drinking and smoking, and but he was a cool uncle. But that sticks in, to your spirit, as far as it molds you in some way. All of these influences, they have an impact on you. And like you said, once you are an adult, or you are yourself, you become this person, and you have all of that. And it triggers at certain points in your life. And then the shift happens. You realize, okay, I need to make some changes. And some people don't know the roadmap and how to make those changes. What do I do? How do I change something about myself, or my situation, or how I respond to things. I had an auntie, I mean, she would literally cuss people out. If you hit that trigger button, you were going to get it. And so her kids ended up being the same way. They have this short trigger, and it's so not becoming. But if that's something that you've seen day in and day out, you got to make a shift in order to advance yourself. And so I love the fact that going out and helping others, it's a cleansing for yourself.
Mm.
It always comes back as some sort of, like, it's a reward, a cleansing, and you're blessing yourself as you're talking to others. As you saying things, and you're talking about different times, or different events, anything like that. You're actually preaching to yourself as well, and you're ministering to yourself. And so I think that's phenomenal, because it it further amplifies the person who you are, your true self. Stay tuned as Tara and I talk about the writer's block and what she went through in getting her book completed. A little bit about, as you're writing your book. I know when I wrote my first book, it was called Daddy Issues.
Mm.
But as I was writing that book, I went through some triggers that caused me some pain. And so I bring this up because you were talking about the time it took you to write the book, from when you got that idea, I'm going to do this. And so I want to know, did you go through that? What was that, what kept you from moving forward?
Yeah, for me, I think because I had been doing the work, it wasn't as much as talking about or writing about the triggers that affected me. It was stepping out and being bold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the book title changed.
Mm-hmm.
Because from just connecting the dots, and then my workshops were called Rewrite Your Life Script, because that's what we would do in the workshops. You're going to change this life.
Mm-hmm.
Then one day I was like, you're petrified of putting this book out. Because, but I didn't even understand why until the day after the book came out. Well, 2 days after the book came out, but shrinking, and it's like, how often do we shrink as people, not being our authentic selves,
Yeah.
And, and now with social media, I realize how much I don't even like posting because I'm thinking, oh, what are they going to think? They're going to think Tara thinks she's something or Tara da 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 da. And most people ain't thinking about you because they're trying to get their own lives together, first of all. So you just put yourself back in your little ego box because people are not thinking about you like that.
Yeah,
Not all of them, at least, not
right.
the majority of them. So the book title being Bigger, Badder, it was my fears came from being big,
Yeah,
saying, okay, it wasn't even as much about what are people going to think when they read it. It's just about what am I going to think when it's out there. Now people can judge me. Now people can say things about me. Oh, she thinks she's something. And it's like, what is that?
yeah, yeah,
Be bigger, badder, bolder, and better, and just jump into life. And
yes,
like I said at my workshop, a lot of people, for my term, wake up dead in the morning. You know what I mean? You wake up technically, or you don't, but you're not even here anymore. So
right,
what are we waiting for?
exactly.
Who are you waiting for? You waiting to die and go, I doggone should have just put out the doggone book,
Right.
you know? So that's really was. Now, when it did affect me, not the day after the book release, because I was kind of feeling good about the event. And I was like, wow, it
Yes.
turned out pretty nice because I was petrified of doing it. And it wasn't until the next morning after the hype, went down and all that, that I was like, oh my God, what did you do? You put out a book where people are going to now start looking at your life and talking about you and did that, oh, Tara, Tara. And then so I immediately, because I have tools that I work on, talk about in my book that help me when those moments set in, I immediately put a tool into place.
Hmm.
And I was able to work with myself and just hearing a friend, and throwing stuff at her, and she would throw it back at me, and I throw it at her, and she throw it back at me because she knew the process. Because
Yes.
that's part of having tools. It's like, what do I do when this addiction sets in? Because I realized it wasn't even about nothing but old tape saying, remember, girl, you just shrink in the back. Look what you did.
Hmm.
Let's go back and shrink again. Let's shrink. Let's be small. Let's not
Hmm.
be bigger, badder, bolder, better. I know
Yeah.
that's how you was yesterday, but today we're gonna make you small again.
Right.
And that is a habit. That is a conditioning. And my body immediately went to that because that's where it knows to go. But
Right.
I have tools to go, oh,
No.
you're doing that thing.
Right.
You're doing that thing. No, I'm sorry, but I don't live with you anymore. I now do it
Right.
this way. So,
Right.
and then I just had to, because even like when I posted, I put out my, some video from my event, and
Hmm.
then you sent me the inside. I mean, you sent me the magazine for July with Taraji on the cover, and then I'm featured inside as well.
Yes.
So I said, well, let me figure out a way to put this out, So I pieced it together on one sheet and just, told people they can buy it online, et cetera, et cetera. I put that out about midnight and had anxiety. It's like, okay, people are going to say, here she goes again. What you putting out? What you got? And I said, girl, go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed. You're just doing the most in your own
Yes.
little ego head.
Yes.
It's like, this is all about ego. It's like, who
Yes.
cares?
Right.
You said that these platforms are for your accomplishments.
Yes.
I'm not showing you my food. I'm not showing you me, it's about what I'm working on right now and what accomplishments. And that's inspirational to others. So why
Yes.
deprive people of seeing you shine because it may motivate them to try and finish their book,
Absolutely.
try to post something. But we meaning me, because I only speak to myself, me have had the habit of, not wanting to shine so that other people don't feel something, or, which is
I
just
know what you're talking
an
about.
ego-driven thing. That's ego going.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I have had those experiences myself. It's something that I work on. I love to promote everybody. And I love to do things for people. I love to see people smile and enjoy or what have you. But when it comes to me, of course, I love to do all those things too. But promoting myself, that is something that it's like, okay, I don't know what to do. And I don't want to appear a certain way. Like, oh, like as you said. And so it's almost like not wanting that spotlight on me. but I want this, I want to create that spotlight for you. If that makes sense.
Oh,
And
totally makes
so
sense.
and so I totally get that. I mean, it, for example, my birthday, I can be happy with taking myself out on a date and doing all the things that I like to do. Of course, I love parties and I love birthday parties and all of that. But the planning for me and my birthday, I haven't gotten there yet because I would rather plan for someone else's birthday and do all of that. And I realized that's a problem. Like, what is it like? I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, you need to get out there and have a big birthday party and let everybody celebrate you. And so I understand what you mean in that respect. With my book, Daddy Issues, my first book, when I wrote it, I experienced that. I experienced, well, one, my mom was like, I need to read it. I need to know what you wrote. And then when she read it, then she was like, well, who are you going to send it to? She was nervous
Yes, what people
about
are going to think.
what people are going to think.
Mhm.
And at that point, I said, you know what? I wrote this book to get this out of me, to
Mhm.
heal myself, and I wrote it so that I can move on. And then once my friends and family and people read it, the feedback I got from them, it was amazing. I didn't know half of them had daddy issues.
Mhm.
And some of the comments that they made, that wasn't even my point in the book. They found other healing from the book that I wasn't even thinking about when I wrote it. And in that moment, I realized, wow, this is why I wrote this, that it's blessing other people and it's meeting them where they are. And so I understand, the whole part of, you wrestle with yourself because people have their opinions and you don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to appear like, oh yeah, I'm all that. So I'm going to write this book for you so that you can get your life together. That's not even, that's not it.
Oh my gosh. So you can get your life together because girl, mine is
Because
fine
I'm
as
already
can be.
together. Yeah. But
99% of us are
right.
dealing with some past stuff.
Yes.
And and even if it wasn't the past stuff, some people are still in the present dealing
In
with
the
stuff. So
present with it.
yeah,
I believe you cannot go through this life without going through something because it molds your character.
yeah. I talk about that in my book about, life is filled with contrast, and you cannot grow and you cannot be better without some contrast.
Yes.
And and it could be small things in someone else's life, but it
Right.
may be small to one other person, but to
Right.
that person is still something big. And
Yes.
life is filled with contrast. So even when you think you've tackled the one thing, you go, okay, I got this, I'm doing it. Oh, here comes something else. People say, if it ain't one thing, it's another because it's
Right.
contrast. There's
Yeah.
always going to be something
It
that you can
is.
move through, learn from, grow from, and share and be a
Yes.
reflection of something so that someone else can learn. And it might just be how you show up and decide to smile every day.
Yes.
When you called, when I was introduced to you, this was my daughter told me, she said, Mom, when you put out your book, she said, watch what happens. Things are going to change. And I was
Yes.
like, I don't even want to put out, so I told you it took me 60,000 years to get out. So right as I decided, I did a photo shoot with my friend to meet you, who did my outfit that I was wearing that night, the
Yes.
guy from Soul Train that I want you to talk to. But anyway, we just did a photo shoot because he had some clothes. I'm sorry, this thing is hitting me. We had some clothes that he wanted me to try on. I said, yeah, I'll be your muse. 2 days later, I get an email saying, hey, Tara, I know this woman who's looking blah, blah, blah. I say, yeah. So it takes
It
on
lined
you
up.
say yes to the fear and jump into your fear. it takes on the life it's supposed to be and do for you.
Yes.
And sometimes it may not be broad, it could be something very simple
Yes.
as meeting a new person. It could have
Yeah.
just been as simple as me meeting you for some reason that we don't even know what it is yet.
Right.
But a step is getting out of your way and standing in your truth and being bigger and saying yes and to the things that make sense. Because sometimes we say yes to everything and we just go, what did I, I stayed home in my bed. I do that too. It's like, mm-mm. But I think that, we all have something. And
Yes.
life is about, we came here to, for my opinion, we came here to really grow and learn from it and
Yes.
to be stand in our own truth.
Yes.
And
Yes. And owning it.
yes,
And owning it. You need to be bigger, badder, and bolder and better. You need to be all of those. And
hmm,
it's stepping out of your comfort zone and owning who you are.
you're absolutely right.
And being that force, that beautiful force of who you are and what you represent.
Yes.
And
And that's
and
what
and
most people are afraid of. They're afraid of standing and being bigger and badder.
yeah,
Even the doctor, remember?
yeah,
The cardiologist up there,
yes.
who's this, renowned, I mean, smart. And he says, you're talking to Dr. Batiste, but Columbus is home hiding in the closet somewhere. Basically because we all have that, oh,
Yeah,
even when you've accomplished so much.
right,
It's
right. And
very interesting,
that was interesting.
how our brains operate.
Right. That was interesting. And it's like you in your profession, you can be that bigger, badder,
Mhm.
bolder, but your own personal self, you like you said, you go run and hide. Like, don't look at me.
Yeah, as you were saying that when you do things for other people, you be grand.
Yes.
When you do it for yourself, you go, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to be too flashy, or I want to be, more conservative. I don't want to, I don't want people to, oh, look at her. She thinks she's all that. And then
Right.
you just don't want that type of headache.
If in fact there is, but I think we've decided that that's what it
That
is.
that's what
And
it is.
and most
Right.
people don't even have time to think about you because they're too busy trying to get through their own stuff. And
Right.
if you can get your mind off of, it's like what I wasn't able to do for myself right away, I was able to do for my children, you
Hmm.
know,
Yes.
and my kids are, like one of my sons, he'll say, uh, well, I said, well, how did you? He says, why would I want to believe that about myself just because you thought that?
Right.
He
Right.
said, no, I don't see myself. This is how I see myself. And I self-correct me. But that was because they had that gift of learning that at a very young age,
Yes.
watching things and reading books and things that
Right.
I learned as more as an adult. But
Right.
also, and I talk a lot about it's important that, if you don't have children yet, that you do as much self-work as you can, because
Yes.
what you're giving them is all of the broken pieces of you. And
Yeah.
now they have that blueprint. So my blueprint, now what I'm doing is I'm trying to, chip away at all the cemented stuff that's been there for years and years and years and years and years,
Yes.
as opposed to a young child who, was given some positivity and some love. And, life is going to give you something anyway.
Right.
But
Right.
their tools that they have and it's not as cemented because they haven't lived with it for 40 years.
Right.
Now just
Exactly.
trying to make some sense of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I do. I do.
So yeah, you have to really do. I think we came here to grow and we came here to learn.
Yeah, we
And
did. It's all about that.
yeah, get into some type of therapy, get into some type of workshop, read some. And the saddest part, and obviously I'm not speaking for all people, but I think it's so much harder when you start hitting 50, 60. And I heard, I want to say, Joe Dispenza say that I think it's Joe Dispenza said that it's cemented by the time you're 30, I think 32, 35. So
Mhm.
those little habits become cemented. And
Mm,
that's when it's really, really hard to. He's got a book called, and I'm promoting everybody's book because these are books that also help me.
yes.
Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And he
Mm,
talks about how chemically the body, why we crave, why certain things keep happening, because our body craves certain behaviors.
yes.
Why somebody who might have been physically abused might find themselves in another physically abusive relationship.
Right,
So
right.
our bodies crave, not that we consciously want that.
They
We
don't want that, right?
don't
But
want that, but we
it's
are magnets.
comfortable.
Right, we're magnets to certain behavior. Now,
Mm-hmm.
how do you break that? That's when I talk about the blueprint. That's your blueprint. My blueprint was that as well because my father was that, and I talk about it in the book, And so that became my way of believing, oh, this is what relationships are.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be
Right,
like this. It's
right,
supposed to be, and sometimes it's verbal,
right,
sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's
right.
sexual, sometimes, a lot of times it's emotional.
Mm-hmm. Right,
And
right,
it don't have to be your mate, it could be your boss, it could be
right.
your girlfriend, it could
Mm-hmm.
be your children, how they talk to you. It
Right.
could be a number of it. They show up in various body forms, types, ages to show you, a
Right.
reflection of yourself.
Exactly.
What you need to learn. So there's always going to be contrast. I don't care what life you think you have, you're going to learn something on this journey. So
That's right.
get ready and try to find some tools on how to navigate that madness because
Yes,
it's
I totally agree. And I'll add to that that yes, not only are there going to be contrasts, but it is going to stretch you to that point of you either going to change or it's going to break you. Like it's that stretching, and that's the growth when you decide, okay, I'm not going to let this thing break me. I'm going to figure it out. Like you said, get some tools to help myself to, lean on so that I can get through this.
Mhm.
And so that's for me, I found that there's certain situations or things that I've gone through that have stretched me to a point where I've had someone say, Paulette, anyone else that is going through what you're going through, they probably would have given up and just said, you know what, forget it. I'm done. I can't go any further. And when she said that to me, I thought, well, no, I don't give up. I'm gonna keep fighting until I conquer this thing, until I get to a place where I'm okay with everything. But I'm gonna work towards, handling this and just coming from having the grandmother, big mama, all of those who instill that positivity, to say that the sky is the limit. You can be whatever you want to be. And whatever you're gonna be the best at it. And watching, having those type of influences kept me to continue to push and work hard.
But how lucky you are, and how lucky like my kids are, because some people don't have those
I don't
influences.
have that.
And what do you
Exactly. I
do when you
realize
don't?
that.
Is that you have to be your own, you have to advocate for
Cheerleader.
yourself.
You have,
And
yeah,
that's where you have to learn how to navigate and do that. Because when
yes.
you when I find that when I work with some people that the older they are, the more they just feel like, what's the point now?
Hmm.
And the work, because it's work. And
Right.
and it's harder work as you get older. So it's almost like you just rather drink it away or numb yourself so that you don't have to deal with it because that works for you. And that's
Hmm.
fine. But if you ever decide to function without those little additives, so to
Hmm.
speak, if you want to just function on a regular basis, that's where the tools come in because you're
Yes.
not going to know how to do it because you've always had some type of substance to
Right.
assist you with not having to think or feel something.
Right.
But you
Right.
can you can get yourself, you can technically rid yourself of them
Of
because
that.
now you have tools. So you were blessed to have a nanny, a grandmother, or aunt who fed you positivity. Because I was talking to a friend of mine, and I'm not going to expose her business, and nobody knows who she is. But she was telling me a story that recently how her mother apologized to her. And she said,
Hmm.
you know, because I don't know how many children she has, but one of them, she said, was up on a charge, got sent to prison. The other one, I think, died. And so then the mother took responsibility for the fact that I'm sorry, I could have done better by you guys, but I didn't.
Mm.
Because now
Wow.
when you look at the fruit of your labor, so to speak, of your offspring, and you realize this is what's happened because of what I did.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then those people never had anything, any
Right.
resource to heal.
Right.
So
Right.
they go out and they repeat things.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They-
so that's why this book for me was so important because yeah, somebody may look at my story and go, "Oh, that was nothing." It was nothing to you compared to what you're doing, but to me it was the same exact feeling. It's all
Mm.
relative to what
Right.
you're moving through.
Yeah.
What I moved through may not be what you moved through, but it hurt me to the core. You
Right.
know, yours hurt you to the core, and the other
Right.
person who might have been even more devastating hurt them to the core. But
Right.
it's how we feel about that thing,
Yes.
that makes it real to us. So you can't compare and say, "Oh, that was nothing. My father did
Right.
this, my mother did that." Yeah, well, to me, it was a lot, and it was a lot to manage, and I had to manage it, and I had to then do the work
Yes.
to heal myself. And
Yes.
the hardest part for most people is
Yeah.
okay, back then when it happened to me, yeah, other people were doing it. Now I'm doing it to myself because it's no longer happening to me, but I'm still living in it as if it's still real.
Mm.
So
Yes.
what
I
do I
get
do
that.
now so that it doesn't have to happen to me anymore? I have
Mm.
to acknowledge that I'm now doing this to myself because this is my story and this is my identity, and people know me as this, or I know me as this.
Yes.
Whether
Yeah.
I told anybody or not, I know this to be true about me, and this is what it is. So I'm going to act out this way. I'm going to numb myself this way to just send it away.
Right.
Contrast is always there. We got to work on the contrast.
Yes. Yes. And to your point too, it's as you're talking, it's how you show up. And it shows that you are a beautiful woman. You have children that are doing amazing things from the ones that I've seen and what you talk about. And the fact that whatever it is that you're going through, you show it well. Like you're showing that, you know what, I've been through something, but it doesn't define me. Like I'm writing about it because it needs to be heard. There's so many of us in our culture that have trauma. And I know this because of all of the people that I interview, all of the books that I run across, the women that I talk to, and it made me realize the need for help, for um, mental assistance, learning those tools to help us not repeat generational what they call generational curses or generational habits throughout time that now have, sat in with people today. They've now manifested with today's generation. And what's happening is women are writing about it. And so it's a form of expression, it's a form of release, and it's a form of healing and cleansing. Because now that you've done that, you've written your book, it's out there, it's beautiful, the cover, uh, you're beautiful on there. And now you can look at that and be proud because you know the work that it took to put it together. And you had to go through all of that in order to formulate all of it for others. And I'm just going to say that people that read it, that know you, they're not going to think about you and what you went through. it's gonna reflect back to them, and
Mhm.
it's gonna manifest and help them and meet them with what they're going through. And I had to tell myself that. I had to hear it from my friends when they were telling me things about what they were going through that I had no idea. And then they were like, you should write another book, and you should make it a sequel to that book and talk about this. They started giving me suggestions
Uh-huh.
on the next book and where to go. There's this kind of situation and that kind of situation. And I was like, wow, that wasn't even my point, Um, so it's really it's like a double fold blessing that
Mhm.
you're blessed because you did it, and you got through all of that, because I know it was a struggle. And you have to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I need to sit down and do this. And it's like you're wrestling with yourself. When is the right time for me to sit down and open this thought in my mind to engage so that I can finish this?
Mhm.
That is the part that a lot of people go through. They call it maybe writer's block.
Yeah.
It's part of writer's block, but then at the same time, it's part of that. I don't want to go down that street right now. I can't do it. I'm going through too much today. So maybe tomorrow, when I feel better, I can get myself in that mode to walk down that street and tell you that journey. And
Yeah.
so I commend you
Oh, thank you.
on doing that, because
I
it's a
got you.
huge accomplishment.
Yeah, same with
Huge.
you, sweetie. You said, you've been writing now. So now you're a writer and you're telling stories and you're healing and helping so many others. So yeah, and anyone else out there who made that
Yes.
leap, it's not easy, but yeah.
No, but it's so gratifying
Ah,
when you completed it and you put it out there and you're celebrating, and everyone is so happy for you, and they're telling people about it,
mhm.
and so you just keep going. You just keep going with it, keep promoting it, and we're gonna do everything that we can do to promote you
Oh,
and promote bigger, better, bolder, and better.
so one day everybody's going to be able to say it easily.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's it's so empowering just to say those words.
Hmm.
It's very empowering, and it makes you think, I need to step into that. That was the feeling that I got when I saw the book, and when I started reading it, and I felt I can take it up a notch. I
Mm.
can step out of my box and step into the next, that next
Mhm.
box,
Yeah,
and take myself to that next level.
yeah.
So again, I commend you on your work, on all of your accomplishments. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, tell our audience?
Well, first of all, you purchase the book. I'm having problems on Amazon getting the book cover up, but it's
Mhm.
there.
Okay.
One of the things that, that this whole event uh ignited in me was I was trying to figure out, whether I call the event Rewrite Your Script, being bigger, better, bolder, better. And I'm getting ready to do some fun little live being bigger, better, bolder, better events.
Yes.
Maybe once a month, once every 2 months, I'm planning the next one, kind of rooted in what my that event was, but just
Yes.
where my audience gets to have some fun with us, so everybody kind
Yes.
of participates. So I'm really excited about that. So if you follow me, it's just my name, Tara Bennett Smith, on all the platforms. You'll probably see more about that. Um, I just, it's really important that if you can find someplace, whether it's me, whether it's someone else, to begin the process of growth,
Yes.
because this life is just so short.
Yes.
And you don't want to wake up and then go, God, I wish I had just done that.
Yeah.
Now, I have a friend of mine who's been sick since she got the COVID shot. Not
Mm-hmm.
saying that that's the reason, but that's what happened. And
Mm-hmm.
I know when I think about being lazy and not following through, I really think about the fact that, man, I know all she wishes right now is she could get up and walk around the room again.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what are we doing by taking advantage of this opportunity to
Right.
shine and to be better and not shine for other people? Shine
Right.
because we have the gift of this soul and this being.
Yes.
Shine for yourself. Try
Yes.
to, take advantage of every talent that you have.
Yes.
When you're
Yes.
gifted with something, that's a gift that you came here to do. My
Yes.
own minister, Reverend Jack, used to say, look, Tara, if it came through you, it's for you to do.
Yes.
So why are you waiting for someone else to give you permission to do something that came
Right.
through you to do?
Yes. It's your assignment.
It's your assignment. So, and there's always ways. Once you take that one step and you say, okay, I'm going to attempt this, you're met with everything you need
You
to,
are.
you're met with everything. And
Yes.
you see how many people love you and want to support you in it. So, but it's a matter of taking the step and not just being so petrified that, I knew even in my however many years it took me to write this, I said, I am also have to remember, don't beat yourself up because right now you are doing some type of growth stuff that's happening in you, Tara. And
Yes.
it's going to blossom. And
Yes.
then you're going to know exactly when the right day, exactly when the right time, exactly the right day of the week to do this,
Yes.
what to call it. And it just all, when I knew it was time,
It
it
all
all
fell
just
into
said,
place.
better, the better. That's going to be the name of the event. I'm going to do it. And I wanted to do it this one place, but they were charging ridiculous amount. They went up and it didn't have all of the everything that I wanted. I wanted a stage, I wanted microphones. I'd have to bring all of that in, build the stage.
Right.
And I said, I don't want to spend all that money. And then I found this place where it was. I was like, oh my God, I didn't have to do anything. It was turnkey. Walk in, then I got all the food sponsored and all the people like, Tara, I love you, whatever you need, you
Yeah.
know. So it became the right day, the right time, the right moment because I said, now.
Yes.
And when I said now, it opened up and I was jumping into it. And that's why I sent out part of one of the tools that I teach people is that when you say you're going to do something, first of all, you got to become a person who's accountable. Don't
Yes.
people that say wishy-washy, I'm going to do it and then cancel. Once you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it.
Yes.
Now, you may not do it right at that moment, but once you
But
say it,
it'll be
you got to hold
done.
yourself accountable. And when you hold yourself accountable, then you don't renege on
Right.
yourself, not other
Right.
people. So what
Right.
I did was I sent out, I think as early as February, save the date. And
Mm-hmm.
once I did that, I was like, it's
You're
on and
committed.
tracking because you cannot cancel now because you
Right.
told other people to save the date. So
Right.
every month and a half, I'd send out a new update. And every month in between that, I'd go, okay, maybe you can cancel it now. Maybe. And I said, nope, you already saved the date.
Yeah.
You're holding yourself accountable. And
Yes.
that's forced me to, when the fear set in, to go, not doing it. Sorry, not doing it. Can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say, find some place or someone to help you if you're stuck.
Yes.
Because there's so many people with so many tools that can help guide you through the process and make it fun. See, my stuff is fun. I don't
Yes.
be revisiting no old, got to go back and see what your parents did. That's useless because all it does is keep you in a place of depression and sadness.
Yeah.
We already know how you felt when you went through that. You know the feeling. I know the
Exactly.
feeling of how
Right.
I felt when I went through that. I could go to the feeling like that.
Yes.
That's the thing that you want to combat is how
Right.
it felt. Now,
How
how do
it
we
felt.
replace the feeling with a
Mm-hmm.
good feeling, something another?
Yes.
That's the key that you want to do, not revisit the pain again.
No, right.
It's just,
And then to look at how you respond.
mhm,
You have to change your response
yes,
to those things that get you in that mix. And
that
of course,
vibrational
it's something
energy.
that you may have to work on. I work on that every day.
Yes,
How do I respond, to triggers or people or whatever it is? I have to change the response. And when I change that, then everything changes.
and changes. And sometimes that means changing not everyone, but a lot of your circle of friends.
It does. You have
You gotta
to.
look at who
You have to.
I talked to someone who I haven't talked to in a while, and we used to be very close, and this has happened several times, but
Mhm.
as I'm listening to them, I started laughing to myself. I said, see, we don't even, just the tone of what's coming out of our mouths right now is very different. It's
Mhm.
like I don't wallow in that space over there.
Right, right.
So we would probably would only be a catch-up friend every now and then because
Mhm.
I would have to continually put a block up so that whatever you're saying does not come into my aura, my psyche, my
Right.
spirit. And
Yes,
you have to be very careful about the
you
people you
do.
say yes to. You know, swans and buzzards don't hang out together.
Right.
It doesn't make one
Exactly.
better than the other. They just make them different kind of energies. So you want to
Exactly.
make sure that if you're a swan, that you go find you some swans and don't be
Exactly.
hanging out with the buzzards.
No, no. And
Buzz.
you literally, I heard a saying on, it was Erica Badu. She
Mhm.
was popped up on Facebook or something, and she said that you literally have to put the old you in a box. Like it has to die for the new you to be, to come fully into place in full circle. And to your point, people, your circle, sometimes people from the past that you may still be friends with, and those were your girls or your people, they're not in alignment with you anymore. And you have to accept that and know I'm not that person anymore. This is the new me. And I love you, but we're
Right.
not in
We're not
alignment.
in alignment. I always say, I use this as an example all the time. I said, we come into this world or we meet people like this. Now, you can be an abuser, and I can be somebody who's used to being abused. You could be somebody who, loves to love up on people, and I'm used to being somebody who loves to receive a lot of love. We
Mhm.
come like that.
Right.
Now, in the case of an abuser and the abusee, we meet up. You do what you do, and I respond because this is what we know to do. But then one day, as the abusee, I go, you know what? I don't really like this anymore.
Hmm.
Go do some work on myself. And then I start working and I start doing this and I
Hmm.
start doing this. But you're not doing the work you need to do because we came as a reflection of each other to learn
Right.
from each other on how to be better for ourselves, not each
Yes.
other.
For
Relationships,
yourself.
as far
Hmm.
as how I see them, relationships are really only about to teach you about you. And
Yes.
if you can do that separately, you get to grow together. So
Yes.
the abusee is sitting over here doing her work or his work and growing up and growing up. Now, when we were down here, we were butt heads, and that
Hmm.
worked.
Hmm.
You would get mad at me, I get mad at you. We get now I'm doing my work and I'm doing my work, and you still getting mad and you still getting mad, and I'm doing my work and I'm doing my work, and then we're here.
Right. That's
So
it.
then eventually, we're no longer in alignment. Now,
Right.
because I no longer choose to be in a situation where I'm abused, even though
Exactly.
you still looking to
Or
abuse me.
yeah.
But now it doesn't work. So
Right.
now when you say, when people say, well, we kind of went our separate ways, it's because we're no longer in alignment.
Right.
So now he's gonna, this or she is gonna find somebody
That meets
on
that.
align with them again. But this
Mhm.
person now is going to meet someone on this higher vibrational level who may be a little bit more loving or maybe still
Right.
has some tendencies. And I'm talking about my life, but because I've done so much work, now it's a little bit different. Maybe it's not physical, maybe it's verbal, maybe
Right.
it might be emotional. And then when you see it, you go, oh, that's that again. I don't do that.
Right.
Keep moving up. So now
Right.
so that's what I believe we're all here to learn from every single person, whether it's your children, whether it's your mother,
Yes.
whether it's your father, your boss, the neighbors, your
Yes.
boyfriend, whatever. Everyone can teach us something. And if we can step out of ourselves and almost be a fly on the wall of our lives and just
Yes.
we'll
Right.
see that we are the common denominator in a lot of the same situations.
Yes.
That is where the work begins.
Yes.
The same thing keeps happening. in different faces, in different scenarios, and those people don't know each other, but you're the common denominator. Guess who needs some work?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You got to look at yourself
Look at yourself.
and look at what you're bringing to the table and look at what you need to work on because I believe we all know what our shortfalls are,
Yes,
or at least I will say we know, not all of us will admit,
it is. Right.
because then it's that ego thing that no, nothing's wrong with me. It's always the person over here. It's something wrong with
Yes.
them.
Yeah, because if it's you, you got to do the work. If it's them, you don't have to do the work. And that's
Right.
most people don't want to do the work. It's a lot of work. So
It is a lot of work.
let it be you, because then I can be like pointing fingers. One finger
Right.
points at you, three. That's always been the case, unless you're pointing like this. You know,
Right.
I don't even know, you know? So it's always about self-growth. And
Wow.
that's what being bigger, better, bolder, better. It's not about being fabulous. It's about how do I be bigger, a better version of myself, a better version, like Michael Jackson would say, bolder, so I'm not afraid to step out and just be better
Better.
in health, in mind, in spirit, in body, and
Wow.
all of those things. How
I
can
love
I
that.
be all the bees and
All the
being
bees. I
all?
love that. I love that. We so needed this.
Well,
We
thank
we
you.
so needed this. And I'm just gonna step out and say that because there's so many people, the hearing your words and really opening up about the core of what being bigger, badder, bolder, and better is. It's even bigger than the words
Hmm.
because it's really saying like, look at you, look at yourself, look at, how can you take what you have and step it up,
Step it up.
and take it to that next level. And so, gosh, wow. I have learned a lot. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for being transparent, because that's not always easy.
Not easy.
But once you put on that jacket, that's it. You own it. And people now, you're always that light, that beacon, but that beacon it's penetrating people with your book. And so as an inspiration for others that are thinking about writing a book, that are thinking about, really sitting down and thinking about who you are, how you can be bigger, badder, bolder, and better. Um, I want you guys to pick up this book,
Thank
for
you.
yourself, to heal yourself, as it's something that you can keep with you in your bag. And when
Mhm.
you're sitting around waiting for a doctor's appointment or what have you, you can read and work on you, because we all need that. We need it constantly. There's energy out there that is so negative. It's depleting,
Oh,
especially for us women, for
especially
our
right now,
culture,
too. This time has just been,
right?
there's a
We're
lot going
constantly
on.
hearing all of these horrible things. We're seeing horrible things happen on a daily basis. And for me, it's almost like PTSD for our culture, watching what's going on around us. And so we still have to move forward with what we're doing. We are survivors. We are stronger than strong. And so binding together and helping each other through our writing, our books, that is, in other words, our message to each other, to uplift each other. Back in the day, there was, and I'm talking way, way back before my time, the blankets and the quilts
Mm-hmm.
that people sewed together,
Together. Mm-hmm.
those were maps of how to get from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about that a lot because not only do you have to sew a quilt,
Sure.
but you have to cut it in a way of a map.
It's a
You know
blueprint.
how brilliant that was? Do you know how, I mean, that's absolutely brilliant to sit and create a quilt that's actually a map
Mm-hmm.
for people to get from one place to
Wow,
another.
very nice.
And so the brilliance that we all carry, um, like you said, don't take it for granted. We're here for a purpose. We are here to learn from each other, to uplift each other, and to grow so that we can educate our
Right.
kids, those generations, our grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to continue to share, to open up who we are, how we got to where we are, and that everyone has gone through something in order to get to that point. And,
Right.
and it's about moving forward. It's
What do
about,
you do now?
yes,
You do now. And
do
that
it now.
anything that you see out there in the world and you see people living and doing, that's not only there for them to experience. You when you say, "Oh man," I remember when the Cosby, and I know we're over our hour, but I remember when the Cosby Show came on. A lot of people are like, "Well, black people don't live like that." It's like because you have no point. A lot of people didn't have a point of reference
Right,
that this is something that, or this is a way some people can live.
right.
But so everything is open to everyone.
Yes,
Yeah, we as people of color might have a lot of different challenges.
yes,
We've also seen a lot of us of color who've made it through those challenges. So
yes.
when you have those, those examples, those are opportunities for you to see that, okay,
It's
then
it's there. It can happen.
and it might be an uphill battle, but you get up that hill, then you're at the top. And now
Yes,
you can do whatever you wish to do with that or with your life at that point. But I think it's really understanding that being bigger, better, bolder, better for you, understanding what that is for you, and then start taking the steps to make it happen.
yes, ma'am. Get your copy of Being Bigger, Badder, Bolder, Better on Amazon and anywhere books are sold. Thank you for watching this episode of the Author's Lounge.